Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today I want to make this beautiful short dress with a bow for my niece. She actually bullied me into making this dress urgently for her, so I felt like, why not take you guys along? So I just turned on my camera, and so let's go right ahead to make this video. So for her, I am using 3 yards of fabric for this dress to do everything. So the first thing I'm doing here is I folded my fabrics into 4 using the largest part of her body, which is her hip measurement, and I added 3 inches to that measurement to fold my fabric. After doing that, I just went ahead to take the shoulder measurement. So on the shoulder I used 8 inches, and now I'm just marking out the neck measurement. So for the back of the neck I'm using 1.5 inches, and the front I am using 3 inches. So 1.5 inches for the back and neck, and the front neck 3 inches. So I went ahead to mark 1 inch downward for my shoulder slope. So I just connected from that shoulder measurement to the neckline. So now we're going to be marking out our armhole. I'm using 7 inches for her. Eventually I went ahead to still trim it off, but 7 inches is just a good place to start with. So I measured out, that's where the bust measurement will be. I took out 16 for the waist measurement, and 23 for the hip line. So, and the total length of this dress is 30 inches. So I just went ahead to do all those markings for you. So for the shoulder, for the armhole, I'm just marking out my armhole. Here I'm going to put in my bust measurements. So I marked out the bust measurement here with my allowance. Also the waist measurement with your allowance, 7 inches, that's 28 divided by 4, and I added allowance. The same thing with the hip measurement, I just added everything, and my allowance I just went ahead to mark them out. So the hip, I did the straight line before. I said no, let me change it to something a little bit curvy, and something that will go well with our shape, and this is what we have. So what I have on the hip measurement, I'm bringing it back to the hip line, to the M line of this dress, and I just connected it. So what I did, the bust measurement, the waist measurement, and the hip measurement, I just connected everything together. What I have on the hip line, I took downward to the hem line and I marked it out. That's all I did, and yeah, we're just going to cut off everything. So for the armhole, the front armhole is usually deeper than that of the back armhole. So after taking out the armholes, I just took out, this is the front part of the dress, so I went ahead to recut the armhole, and now I'm going to cut out the front neckline. So you can see the front neckline deeper than that of the back. Also the front neck armhole is deeper, the armhole curve is deeper than that of the back. So here I just placed both the front and the back together. I'm measuring out our pocket, where our pocket to start from. So I went on the hip line, I went up by 4 inches on the hip line, 4 inches on the hip line. So I'm just going to mark or notch out that point. That will be where the pocket, we have inner pocket for this dress, and that is where to start from. So to cut out our pocket, this is how we're just going to do it. I explained this in details in my kimono dress with inner pocket. So the video, I'll put the video in the description box below. Just watch out, just go ahead to look at, that's the video before this video. So I explained how to cut out your pocket, how to cut out a simple pocket like this in that video. So just go ahead and watch it and you understand what I am doing here. So the next thing for us is to cut out the interfacing for this dress. So to cut out the front, we just place part of for the neckline of the front on this piece. So I'm just going to go ahead to cut out the neckline. So after cutting out the neckline, I just want to use like 3.5 inches or 4 inches for my interfacing. So here I'm just going to mark out the inches I want. Just going to mark out 4 inches round, and I'll cut this off.
The same thing I'll be doing for the back. I'm going to put the back like this and cut off the back neckline, but unlike the front, I'm not going to cut out the 3 inches just yet. So I want the back to be longer, so this is what I'm going to do. I mark down 8 inches at that point. Then at the shoulder, I'm just going to mark out the same 4 inches I marked out at the front. So I'm just going to connect this 8 inches to this 4 inches mark on the shoulder.
Alright, so the first thing is to attach our interfacing or pipe the neckline of our dress. So this is for the back. I'm just going to go ahead to stitch this with 1/2 inch. Also, I'll do the same thing for the front. So now this is the front. We've gone ahead to stitch it with 1/2 inch, and I went ahead to notch the stitches so it can lay flat. So what I'm going to do next, let me show you how to top stitch your garments in a beautiful way. So what I see most people do sometimes is to top stitch the garment, and the thread will be showing at the front of the dress or at the front of that cloth you are making. That's not a professional way to do this. So to top stitch in a professional way, this is what you're going to do. You're going to open that place you want to top stitch, the lining or the interfacing. You're going to open it, separate it from the cloth. You're going to separate it from the actual fabric like this. So all the stitches will be under the lining or the interfacing like this. So your stitches will be directly under the interfacing. So you're just going to top stitch or sew a fine and tight stitch on the lining or on the interfacing, not on the top or on your main fabric. So if you do that, you see that your fabric is, or the dress or the interfacing you are using, will stay flat inside the dress, and no stitch will show at the front of the dress. So everything will lie flat at the back, but nothing will be showing at the front. I hope that's a little trick you got from here today. Do well to subscribe to the channel, turn on your bell notification, and like this video if you've not done so already. So let's move to the back. So for the back, this is what we did. After going ahead to stitch the neckline the same way we did at the front, I went ahead to also notch it to allow everything to lie flat. I went also to stitch at the middle of this dress. I found the middle of the dress and I gave a close stitch like this. So I just marked like 5 inches length from the neckline at the middle, and I went ahead to stitch this like this, very close. So after doing the stitching, this is what we are going to do now. We're just going to open that part where I left open during the stitch. You can see how tiny the stitches is. So the middle of that part, I'm just going to open it. Open it. Ensure you are not cutting through the thread. So when you're done, just go ahead to bring everything out, just open. So this is what we have. We're just going to go ahead to like iron this so that everything will just lay down flat. So we have an opening at the back of this dress also, where we are going to be putting our either button or whatever it is you want to put there. So now let's go to the fun part, which is to create our bow for this dress, the front bow you saw on the dress. To create our bow for this dress, we are going to be using this fabric here. So I have 22 inches length and the width is 18 inches. So I'm just going to fold this like so. After folding like this, I'm just going to sew around this piece, sew it round, and leave a little opening where I'm going to turn out the fabric back to the front. So alright, so this is what we have. I've gone ahead to sew this fabric all around, and I left a little opening where I'm going to use to turn out this fabric. So I've gone ahead to turn my fabric out. You can see it's white because I put organza. Yes, there's organza on this fabric. I just joined the same measurement of the fabric I have. I just added organza to it and I stitched everything round, and now this is what we have. There's just, after closing that opening, so this is what next we're going to do. This is how to fold our fabric to get our bow. We're just going to fold it like this. So if you didn't see it, I'm going to do it again. So I have this piece here that I'm going to use to hold our bow, right? So I'm going to fold this again so you see how I had to do it. So take your fabric and do it like this. Just hold it. You can fold it, you can pleat it, or you can just fold it anyway. All you have to do is just grab that middle and your bow will come out. So we're just going to grab the middle, and this is our stripe or strip that we're going to use to hold the middle together so that bow will stay there permanently. To fold this, and you go ahead to our machine to stitch it firmly so it will just remain there. So to place this bow on the dress, get the middle of this dress. It's important so that it will really be at the middle. Get the middle of the dress. After getting the middle of the dress, just mark that out. So now I'm going to open this dress. I've gotten where the middle is. I'm just going to open it up. So at that point where we marked out as the middle, we're just going to put this bow on that point and stitch it with take it to the sewing machine and stitch it. But after using the sewing machine, I'm just also going to use my needle and thread to ensure it's very strong. So I'll just use the needle and thread to really sew it in, right? So now let's just join our dress on the shoulder. What you do, you see the interfacing together and the shoulders together. So I'm going to open up the interfacing and the shoulder together. This is just to give us a neat finishing. So I'm doing 3 things. Let's just quickly go ahead. After putting the bow, you join the shoulder like this. And the next thing, attach my pocket. Remember, I explained how to do this too in that kimono video. Really go and watch that video. You understand how to cut and attach your pockets like this. Simple way to do this. You really understand this. So I'm just going to attach my pockets right side facing each other like this. Remember we had a mark, so from that mark I'm just going to place my pocket like this and attach it on the 4 sides, right sides facing each other. So this is what we have. I've gone ahead to join the shoulder and attach the pocket on the 4 sides. So this is what we have. So the next thing is to attach your sleeve. The next thing is to attach the sleeve to this dress. Assuming I have attached my sleeve, this is what we're going to do next. Join the sides of this dress from up all the way down around the pocket and like so. You're going to do this on both sides.